In this next lesson, I'd like to build upon the whole making melody over chord changes tactics that we've been learning about and continue with that Carlos Santana inspired Latin theme. By the way, by Latin, I mean the cultural musical heritage of Central and South America and the Caribbean region, that part of the world. And also, continue with the inspiration of the great Michael Brecker and other great jazz improvisers. And I want to show you a neat little solo, another two-parter. Okay, this is a thing I wrote called Minor Basa. It's based upon the form and the chord changes to a popular jazz standard called Blue Basa, which was written about 50 years ago in the early 60s by a great trumpeter named Kenny Dorham and recorded on Joe Henderson's 1963 album, Page One. And I learned it in my freshman year of music school back in my past life, back in the early 80s. And it's a great entry-level song for improvisers to learn how to play over a bossa nova groove. And it's only 16 bars long. The chord changes don't come too quickly, but yet they're intriguing enough that you want to just solo over it chorus after chorus, which is what musicians often do. They'll play the melody or head, as it's called, twice through, and then they'll just take an indefinite number of choruses of solo and then come back and play the melody again twice more because it's such a short form, and then come up with some kind of prearranged ending. The same way you would approach playing over a 12-bar blues. So let me first introduce you to the chord changes. By the way, I transposed it. The original Blue Basa is in the key of C minor, but again, I'm thinking in terms of a more guitar-friendly key, for Pete rock and metal and blues guitarists that want to start getting into jazz, a key that they're more familiar with. So I transposed it down to A minor, and I'll show you the chord changes. I'll play it to that bossa nova groove with a drum machine here, and then I'll kind of break that down and then play the solo for you. So here we go. Okay, so as you can hear, it's played at a nice sprightly tempo, around 204 beats per minute, which is a good, Goldilocks tempo. Not too fast, not too slow, has enough energy, yet still gives you a fighting chance. You're not struggling with the technique too much. Okay, so it goes A minor, and I'm using pick and fingers technique here. I want to get like a pianistic type of simultaneous note attack. So I'm going A minor, and then I go to A7. That pushes you to the 4 chord, D minor. I'm playing D minor 7. This actually is the same shape, moved over 1 fret. So it's 1 bar of A minor, 2, 3, 4, 1 bar of A7, which you can think of that as what's called the 5 of 4, meaning it becomes the 5 chord of the 4 chord, which is D minor. So, you could just go A minor for 2 bars. Right, that's a little weaker. This has a more compelling resolution. Then I go to B minor 7 flat 5, which is the 2 chord in A minor, and then E7 flat 9. These are chord voicings I've shown you in previous lessons. If you look at the tablature, you'll see the fingerings for them. So it goes B minor 7 flat 5, back to A minor. That's called a 2-5-1 in A minor. B minor 7 flat 5 is a 2 chord. E7 flat 9 is a 5 chord. Actually, E7 is a 5 chord, but you're adding that tension, that flat 9 F. Then it's just kind of out of nowhere, it goes to C minor 7, to F7 flat 9, to B flat major 7. So what that is, that's a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat. And then we have a 2-5 to A minor again. And then a quick turnaround, which is that 2-5 once more. And one more thing about the chord changes here is that, I'm playing the bass note first. Kind of like the bass line would be. kind of hear the chord changes just with the bass line, right? So here's my little solo, minor Basa, the first part of it. And again, I'm trying to use all these playing over the chord changes tactics that we've been discussing in all the lessons up until now, namely targeting non-root chord tones on the beat, such as the 3rd, 5th, 7th, or 9th, or in some cases, the flat 9th or even the flat 5. I'm using some chromatic passing tones and also some neighbor tones, upper, lower neighbor tones, that kind of dancing around a chord tone before actually hitting it. So here is part 1.